All right, our next speaker is our hostess with the mostest today, and she'll be doing a 5 to 7 minute speech entitled Tom and Punkin, Two Lives Become One. MarieMinder, Tom and Punkin, Two Lives Become One.
I find it ironic that today's theme is Halloween, and two of the stories we're doing today are about marriage. Violet did hers on being married. I am doing it as the sister of the bride. My sister's getting married. My story, I need a little bit of a backstory. My sister's getting married to, her name is Punkin, and she's getting married to Tom next weekend, and I'll be flying to Virginia, rural Virginia. For a wedding. She's getting married deep in the, like a mile off the road, in a house built by Tom, in a town that's probably about 30-40 miles from Charlottesville, Virginia, which is a small village to start with. It's a very rural Virginia. My story is an attempt to, on the rehearsal dinner, tell a story about their lives. So, then you need to know that. Bear with me, and any advice will be helpful. Once upon a time, a long time ago, a long time ago, in a land far away, a young man was born. His name was Thomas. Thomas of Rockland County. Thomas was a handsome young lad with a quick wit and natural curiosity. He was born in a loving family, surrounded by 4 beautiful sisters who spoiled him, bullied him, all depending on the age and the proximity of parents. Life was good in Rockland County. Tom was able to romp through the woods with his dogs, build things, dog houses, little houses, and go to school. If we were reading a novel, this would be foreshadowing. Tom did very well in school. His quick wit and his natural curiosity was noticed by the elders of the school, and they gathered together and decided to send Tom to the big state university, to SUNY, to study, because his mind needed a bigger world to expand. So off Tom went to SUNY, State University of New York, a big village. And he did quite well in SUNY. Life was rich. He studied Tolstoy, all the great authors, Wadsworth, Longfellow. Life was good. But the world was at war, and that soon filtered down into the idyllic life at SUNY. And soon Tom found his way with his friends Tom and Paul to find ways to make peace. Lots of war rallies, peace rallies, and that's what he spent his time. Much to his parents' chagrin. The hair got longer, clothes got a little rattier. But Tom was doing what he believed in. And as Tom was off making the world a more peaceful place, another miracle was happening a little further south in the village called Philadelphia. Carol was born, or as Nana nicknamed her, Punkin. She was a beauty. Hair the color of a flame in a fireplace, eyes as blue as the sky, and a complexion, to this day, I hate her for. She was also smart, quick-witted, and had a natural curiosity. She was the smartest of all 4 children. Those 4 children, my brothers and sisters and I, both spoiled and bullied her, depending on the age and the proximity of parents. Well, time went on, and it was time for Carol to make her way in the world. As she was the smartest one of all the kids, she was planned to go to the Cathedral of Learning in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And as she was on her way, planning to go from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh, Tom, meanwhile, had decided that it was time to make his way in the world, to find his next adventure. And his natural curiosity led him to careers as a postman, a lumberjack, until finally he found his love in teaching, inspiring young minds. And perhaps summers off has attracted him to that noble profession. So as Carol was preparing to go from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh, Tom was preparing to go from New York south through Philadelphia to the Commonwealth of Virginia to refine his skills. Carol went off. Time has passed. They never saw each other in Philadelphia. Time has passed. Carol went on to also develop a love of learning and the desire to teach young children. Tom, meanwhile, stayed in Greene County, moved from the Commonwealth of Virginia to Greene County, found his woods, and began to build his house. And him and his 3 dogs lived in this beautiful house in the woods. Now, Carol took a little bit longer to find Greene County. She took a more circuitous route: Pittsburgh, Boston, D.C., Zurich, and even staying in California. But she did find Greene County, and in Greene County they indeed met, thanks to Astrid. Astrid. Casual conversation, New Year's Day. What are you going to be doing today? I'm going on a hike. I'm going on the Old Man Harris hike in Shenandoah National Park. Wow, that's a big hike. Yes. Do you like to hike? I love to hike. Do you like dogs? Astrid said. Carol goes, yeah, I like dogs. Great. You have to love dogs. She said, yes. I know it. Tom is the guy for you. Let's call him right now. Tom, Carol likes to hike and she likes dogs. You need to meet her. She's going hiking today. So meet us at the parking lot. They hiked Old Man Harris during the day, and it was a long hike. It was a very long hike. Long enough for them to know, to discover with each other the things that they all shared. Their love of teaching, their love of inspiring young minds, the ability to live life their way, love of dogs, and persistence. So the day ended with a kiss and a promise that life, perhaps life of doing it our way, will be better than life doing my way. So today we celebrate, we come together to celebrate the joining of these 2 people, Carol and Tom. Because nature has conspired to bring you together today, as well as with Astrid. And we wish you joy. I'm sorry, I forgot the end.
Stay in the target zone, stay in the target. All right, so once again, she's getting ready for this. I think Toastmasters is specifically designed to help people, if they're not going to be professional speakers, to be public speakers at occasions where that's your only shot. And this is our only shot to give a good impression for this wedding and make something special. So how is she going to make this special and help Marie do that? So feedback. Yeah.
You have nice pacing. You don't rush, so that's all really good. And you also have volume, ranges, and blurring. So, and voice modulation. So that's all great.
Okay.
Dennis,
you're telling a narrative of their
Right.
life at this point. I will give you a direct bit of feedback on this. It's a little boring. And the reason it's a little boring is you're not really telling stories about them.
Right.
So if you were to focus in on a few anecdotes that illustrate the events of their lives, that would be really a grabber. Because as Steve says, you're telling the story wonderfully. You're doing a great job. And if everybody's drunk, it's going to be fine. But if you want to knock it out of the park, funny stories. It would be great if you could do PowerPoint slides, but you're traveling, and that's kind of difficult.
I'll be in the woods. I'm really in a fire.
Yeah. Oh, so really, you're going to be speaking around a fire pit.
oh, that's ideal speaking.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's going to be But that's a very good point. I really do need to add some. I think that's a very good idea.
I was just going to say that if you don't know true anecdotes about them, feel free to make them up. Many times I go to these family events, I'll take a copy of the National Enquirer, cut out the pictures, and tell stories as if the pictures were from their lives.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah.
Are you estranged from your family?
They always complain and invite me.
That's very good feedback, because I thought that it was easy.
So, anybody else for Marie? More, Ernestine?
A little too much detail about from here to there to there to there. You got speed it up a little.
Cool. Somebody else? Yeah. Fine.
I liked how it was, you had this idyllic setting with the family, how they grew up, but the sisters or whatever spoiled him and then bullied him depending on the age. But when you said depending on the age and proximity of the parents, I thought you meant the age of the parents, but you meant the age of the child.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and I didn't know if Rockland was there's a Rockland in Virginia as well.
There is, and I don't know what county it is. I'm making that up. I did a list of New York counties, and I picked one that I thought I could remember.
She lied.
Ohiga wasn't going to come out easily, so I stuck with Rockland.
And SUNY, I don't think they call it SUNY. They usually call it SUNY Albany.
They do, and I don't know the school.
Okay. Jeez. We got busted here.
I know.
Yeah, Rob.
Yeah, you mentioned Punkin and Carol. Well, you weren't consistent. I don't know whether you should.
It's a good point. She'll either be Punkin at one point, and then she turns to Carol, or
You mentioned her name, but then further on you keep it consistent, I guess. Also, in the beginning, you said a long, long time ago. I was trying to think, what years are you really talking about?
Yeah, and I wasn't sure what to do there. Tom is like 15 years older than she is, so I think that might play better in the audience. Because when I look at Tom, he's definitely older than she is.
Well, you said talking about a war. I was starting to think World War I or World War II.
Right. It was the Vietnam War, so I don't know if I want to go into dates. That could be.
You might do the 60s or the 50s.
Yeah.
Right.
Not specific date.
Right. Because he's definitely born in the 50s and a child in the 60s. I mean, that's when he was in high school.
And she's a child of the 60s or
Right.
the 70s.
70s.
70s. So, I mean, you don't need to give ages. You can just say eras.
Right. Okay. That's a good point.
You made, I thought, several unnecessary references to the passage of time. I also think the essence of this story is when they meet and the circumstances that bring them together. I think you need to get there much sooner. And echoing something that Dennis said, I think what's really interesting about this story is what happens when they actually do meet. And even if you don't know, these are two people you know well enough that you could just make it up. You know, what one thought about the other, what actually happened on that walk. And you could actually use that walk as a sort of to flash back to these other things that they have in common. You know.
This is why we come to Toastmasters. That's a great idea.
Okay, looks like Marie's going to go to her room, rewrite her speech. So, with that, any more feedback, give it to her at the break. Once again, MarieMinder. Nicely done. Thank you so much.